Thanks a million, guys, for joining. Anyway, this is I just want to run through pretty much what we've been up to for the first, I guess, half of the year, and mainly what we've been doing in the last 3 months, which is the Smart Planner. And it's something we want to do a bit more regularly now, where we want to keep, I guess, the clients up to date on what we're up to, and kind of give them a chance to give us some feedback, and do some proper like training of the tool as we're releasing it, just to make sure it makes sense for our clients, and that we give them a chance to give us their input so that we can improve it pretty much on the go. So I'll just start off with kind of summarizing what we did in the first 3 months of the Q1 release. Then I'll talk about what we've just done, mainly the Smart Planner. I'm then going to walk through the tool itself to give you guys a chance to see all the functionalities of it. And please, by the way, anyone, if there's any questions at all, feel free to unmute yourself, or if you're not comfortable, just send a message in the chat as I'm going through it. But I'll also give a chance at the end if there's any questions at all or anything confusing. Um, that's the aim of this, is to try and solve any confusion at all around the Smart Planner, so that it's just as easy transition as possible for people to use it. So in the first release cycle, we focused on the activity dashboard that you'll now see on the homepage, which gives kind of a high level summary on the campaigns that are active, the media spend, where you can filter by a specific date range, the same as the number of plans, and then also the pending actions. We've also added some functionality to the account management, so you can edit your notifications, you can edit your profile, change your password, and get an overview of the organizations or the brands underneath your organization. We did some enhancements to the help center as well. So kind of just around, I guess, user experience, and to try and improve the homepage with the activity summary on the homepage. Now, in the last release cycle, which we've just released on Wednesday night, we released the Smart Planner. So I'm not sure if any of you got a chance to look at it yet, but essentially it's kind of a revamped version of the old planner, but with a couple of new enhancements. So now you can actually select and define a campaign objective, which is something you couldn't previously do. And the ones we've gone with, which I'll go through in a bit detail, but it's like a balanced strategy if you're unsure, or you want to focus and you know you have a goal in mind, which might be to raise awareness of your brand, to boost your sales, to generate some leads, or to do some event promotion or some local promotion. We've also added the ability where you can actually edit some of the percentages allocated to each channel, and some thresholds, which I'll show to kind of guide clients so that they're confident that they'll make a rational plan, which makes sense and that is an effective ad spend. Another feature that we've introduced in the last release cycle is automated post campaign report requests to media sellers, just to kind of speed up the reports that our clients are getting, and to just improve the engagement between us and the media sellers, which is something which we're going to be continuing in the next release cycle. So now I'll just share the Smart Planner. So I'll just share my screen here. So can everyone see my screen here, guys? Oh, one sec. That all
Yeah,
good?
all good. Yeah.
Oh, on the homepage now, what we've changed in the homepage is this menu bar essentially, where you can create a media plan using the same button here, or you can go into the create and create a smart plan. Also, obviously within the AI personas, you can click a new plan to create a smart plan there. But I'll just go in this way. Essentially, the first step of the smart plan is obviously to select your organization, and then from there you select which country you want your ad to run in. So I'll select Ireland. You then put in an estimate for the budget, and this obviously might change when you go through the actual sort of scheduling step with your relevant CS manager, but it gives sort of a guide that we use then to complete the smart plan. Then the idea is to put in some tentative dates, and you'll see if we try and put one in within 7 days, you get this notice. But of course, obviously, in situations like digital, there might be a scenario where you want the campaign to go live sooner, and you can chat to your relevant CS manager about those sort of special cases. But I'll just start it on the 18th of July. I'll let it run for about 3 months, 2 months. And then here's obviously the goals that I spoke about. So what we want to do is try and make this not too confusing. Some feedback we got was there was a misunderstanding as to like what one to select, or unsure the difference, I guess. But balance strategy is you're kind of building a campaign, but you're unsure exactly what the aim of the campaign is. And you kind of want a well-rounded mix of both brand building plus a performance aspect. Whereas if you are focused on building your brand, you would obviously select that. Or if you have a specific lead generation goal in mind, or you want to boost your sales, you would obviously select that. So I'll just go with a balance strategy for now. Then here is the second step is the audience page. So either you will see a list of all of the personas that you have created that are relevant to you, or you can build your own persona in the same sort of persona builder style that we have currently on the platform. Or you would then select one of our sort of standard personas, which obviously can range from budgeting families, diverse renters, established wealth. For now, I'll just select this. So it's females aged 25 to 54 interested in photography. Now, at this stage, we give a recommendation based on our data for the channels that you should be advertising in. So we give a breakdown, first of all, with this pie chart with the categories. And we've done a slight revamp of the categories to try and make them a little less confusing. So there's print, there's out of home, digital, social, audio, TV and video, and also cinema will be one there as well, but it wasn't recommended in this media mix. And what we've done here is we've given estimates for reach and frequency figures for each channel, with a little description as well as to what they both are. If you click here, we give sort of a disclaimer as to how we kind of calculate that. So it's based on analyzing recent consumer data and media behavior trends. That's how we kind of come up with these estimates. But as I said, they are estimates to the best of our ability. And then obviously you've got some unused channels that you can add back. And I guess the main functionality on this page is on the right here, you'll see the original sort of estimated reach and frequency for this plan. But users now have the ability to edit the percentage allocated to each title. And once you move one of these slider bars, this locks automatically. I guess our thinking was if you want to move something, so if you want to edit our original recommendation and you're confident that you want to move a channel to a specific percent, you probably want to stick with that percent. So you're assuming that's going to lock then. Like it's an action you took, which we're assuming you want to stick with. But obviously, if you want to go back, you can just click the lock to unlock it again. And then also, if I move another slider, it'll reallocate amongst all the other unlocked channels. So online display didn't get affected there, as you saw. I have also the ability to remove any channel. So if I didn't think weekly newspapers fit this goal or fit this persona, or I just didn't see value for my personal business, I'd remove it. I can add channels back. So if I click it back, I can add it back. And what we've added here also is sort of a threshold. So you have two options essentially. You can remove it or you can increase it to that threshold. So if I want to remove it, and also as I drag down the percent allocated to a channel, that threshold will appear as well. So it says 0% of your budget is 0% of our recommended minimum spend. So again, it's advised us to either remove online display altogether or to increase it to its minimum effective ad spend. So I'll just increase it back again. I can click recalculate estimates then for this sidebar to update, to give an updated reach and frequency for the edits that I've just made. And also then if I wasn't confident with those edits, I can revert back to the original recommendation that we would have provided at the start. If you were unsure of any changes that you made and you wanted to go back to our first recommendation. So here also you can see is sort of like a little tooltip just to remind users that once you move a slider, it's going to lock. But you can also unlock that if you wish. So that's the idea on this page. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to shout. If not, I can move on. I'll move on. But if anyone has any questions, just feel free to write them down and we can go through it at the end. So the next stage then, what we've done is we've broken down each of those channels with the relevant titles for those channels. So here we have digital out of home and the relevant titles that we suggest you should put ad spend towards within digital out of home. We've also added some descriptions next to each of the units. So this shows the average number of out of home units based on a mix of formats. So I guess the thing to emphasize here is these are all estimates. And what we've had to do is we've had to get averages because, as you know, there's multiple different formats you can get for digital at home. You can get, different types of sheets, and they all come with different prices. So what we've tried to do is get sort of an average of those formats to give some sort of indication as to what you might get for your budget. So it's pretty much a summary with each of the titles under the channels. I can remove titles if I know maybe news talk might not be effective for me. So I remove it and it goes into the unused channels. It also opens up this sort of edit mode. So here it is in the unused channels. I can add it back if I wish. I can also then edit the budgets for the channels themselves. I can cancel if I'm not happy with it. Uh, and also, sorry, I didn't show there, but if I edit a budget, it'll tell me the minimum threshold the same way, the same logic on the previous page. So I've edited on bus stops and shelters to below what we recommend is the minimum spend to get an effective ad placement. And we then give the option to either remove that title if you were trying to put a budget which wasn't going to get an effective ad, or to increase it to that minimum amount. So I go back, increase it to the minimum amount. I also see as well the difference now after me making those changes between my original budget and now my new budget. And then once I save it, I'll see the updated reach and frequency figures to compare it versus my original plan. And again, what I can do is I can revert back to those original estimates that I had made at the start, or that the system recommended at the start. So the original recommended titles. Uh, anything?
Johnny, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So see where it says estimated units.
Yeah,
Does that specify exactly like say the cycle length? So for example, on bus stop shelters, like that's for a 2 week cycle, you'll get five of those. You know the way they can also differ like for location. Like
yeah.
does it or
No,
is it just kind of like a ballpark figure?
it's
You get
more of
me?
a ballpark average, I guess,
Okay.
because obviously there's loads of different scenarios where it could be a 2 week sort of length, it could be 4 weeks, it could be longer. So what we've tried to do is try and get sort of an average. And I guess
Okay.
then when you go to the next step after the smart planner and when you're scheduling, that's kind of when you can get more precise estimates. But I guess this is just to give more of a high level idea so that you can come and select the channels and the titles, and then you can kind of get into the exact schedules and the exact like inventory that you will actually get. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I guess the aim of the smart planner overall is to get clients more confident making rational plans that make
Yeah.
sense and there's an effective ad spend. And then the next step is when sort of the dates and the inventory and stuff come into play. Um,
Perfect. Thank you.
no worries at all. Thanks for the question. And then this final stage essentially is, I'll just wait for it to load. My internet is bad. This isn't the tool, so don't worry. The final stage essentially just summarizes kind of what was on the previous page. So summarizes the plan you've just kind of gone with. If you click edit, you'll get brought back to allocation. So you can go back and edit it if you see something you don't like. You can then also view a more detailed plan rationale. So we offer a current one with the old planner. You can find obviously in the plans tab, but what we've tried to do is first of all add in that rationale here before saving it to give you an idea and also to give you a chance to share it with your coworkers before committing to saving it as like a draft plan. So we go into each channel, the budgets and the allocation for each, and then sort of a reasoning as to why those categories were selected in relation to the persona that you selected and the campaign objective. So here we can see print media is a powerful tool for increasing brand awareness and driving engagement with photography enthusiasts. So it's tying in both the audience and the objective. Uh, digital and social, gives a bit of a description, audio, TV, and video, talks about the reach and frequency in each category, and then gives some of the expected outcomes. So the idea here is we're just trying to give we're trying to give teams a bit more of a rationale as to why that plan was first of all recommended by us, and then if it's also edited by you guys, to give you some sort of summary and rationale behind the plan in relation to the objective and the persona that was selected. So I can next step is I would then save the plan. And what we've done here is kind of give like a recommended naming convention, I guess, just to keep a bit of order in the plans tab. So it's easy to find the plan that you're looking for. So I guess I'll just say Buymedia, uh, balance strategy, and I'll say Q3 2025. Save the plan. And now at this stage, you'll get brought to your plans page with essentially a summary of what you had just selected for your plans. You'll see each category, the titles within each category, the relevant channel, the budgets for each title. Same with print, with digital and social. Then in the summary section, you'll see the ability to copy the link so you can share with your team or email it to your team. Again, a breakdown of the categories. And then obviously, so it's the same structure. Now, this is something we're going to be currently working on now, and hopefully to release in around 3 months' time to kind of redo this plans tab. Um, but yeah, this is the idea. Please, guys, feel free to shout if there's anything confusing. I can go back as well to the smart planner and leave it on the screen here. But by all means, please just feel free to shout if there's any other questions on the smart planner.
Johnny, on the recommendations, is that taking just Kantar data into account when it's determining what the allocation should be?
Yeah, so when the balance strategy is selected, it's taken the Kantar data into account. And when a specific objective is selected, it's still largely taking the Kantar data points, but it's also taking our own media expertise as to what channels should be used if a specific goal is selected. So still mainly based on the Kantar database, but also tying in our own expertise around what channels and titles are best to advertise. For example, if there's a lead generation campaign and we know that paid social is going to be super effective on that, or if there's a brand awareness campaign and we know like out of home and TV and cinema are really good like channels to advertise on if you're trying to build your brand. So it's still mainly based on Kantar and still mainly based on that audience and persona that you've either built or selected, but also taking into account our own expertise around the best titles to use depending on the objective.
Great, makes sense. And one other question for me on the plan rationale, does the rationale get mod like change if I go in and I remove a couple of titles and I bump up the amount that I'm going to spend in a title,
Yeah,
does the plan rationale reflect with my changes, or is it just what the plan rationale would have been based on the recommendation from the system?
yeah. So it does reflect. I'll just show here now how it does. So I remove, let's say, national newspaper, and I recalculate my estimates. Now I've obviously edited the original recommendation that we have given, um, and that's how I just continue. And at the bottom of the rationale, it'll give sort of a disclaimer as to this is a user modified sort of plan rationale, but it'll still back up the choices made and try and relate them to that goal and to that persona. So it does update based on the changes. It isn't just a static thing that
Okay,
only relates to our original recommendation.
cool.
So we can see I took out, I reduced print allocation by taking out national newspaper and it updated correctly. And it also then gave me a disclaimer as to this rationale is generated based on a user modified proposal. Um, so yeah, it does pretty much.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions at all, guys? I'm conscious. I don't want to. I want to take too much of anyone's time, but I guess it's just a chance for any questions so that if it's today or if it's next week, whenever you're thinking about starting a plan, you just feel a bit more confident doing so.
So once that's complete, Johnny, are you then notified that we have, say, created a
Yeah,
smart plan, and then like do you contact us, say, is there any like review, or
yeah,
for
that's
inventory, do you give us like a list of, say, like artwork dimensions?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and thanks for bringing it up. So pretty much at this stage, you'll save it, and it'll get saved into your plans tab, and then your relevant CS manager will get notified about that.
Okay.
But it's a good point because my fear is I get like we want clients to feel more confident saving it, but not to panic once it is saved. As in, our CS manager will then be in touch, and we can then go through the same sort of steps as prior, where you're using the Google Sheet to do the scheduling, to figure out the dates for each title, to settle on the inventory, to define the format. That'll all be done in the next step, and our CS team will reach out to you guys once it's saved. And then that can all kind of be ironed out. The ultimate aim of this is just to get that kind of high level media mix, uh,
Yeah.
like a budget and like a rough idea on the months, the start date and the end date of the plan, and obviously to select the objective and the persona. And then the follow-on step is the scheduling in the same way it's currently done. Um,
And say if you saved it then, and say we had to then change the dates because for whatever reason, like
yeah,
the campaign got brought forward, can you go back and edit then? Or once
yeah.
it's
So
saved, you can redo it?
So if in that situation, I guess you would save it, and maybe Anna, you'd be better versed in this, but you would save it, and then I guess at that scheduling step, you can then edit those dates. Like those dates aren't set in stone.
Okay.
You can edit it kind of at that step, and even I guess the budget, if there was something that you weren't happy with when you were getting to that scheduling stage, it isn't set in stone. It is obviously like a high level overview, but obviously things can change at any time.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. I'll give a minute or two for any other questions, guys. But yeah, I don't wanna take up too much of your time, and I really appreciate everyone coming.
And actually, Johnny, sorry, is there like a minimum time frame like that you can plan something? For example, like you can't do anything within 4 weeks. It's like 4 weeks out because obviously to turn around assets and
Yeah,
just
so yeah, no, that's a good question. So as I was kind of showing at the start, you can start the plan essentially within within 7 days. So if I went and tried to start it here, I get this notice here. Having said that, like obviously there might be situations where you obviously want to run a digital campaign, maybe less than that. But that's like the rough idea because we need to kind of give ourselves time to allow the client to like approve everything, schedule it and stuff.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, that's the kind of idea. But then obviously in a situation like TV, which might require booking earlier, to get maybe a discount and stuff like that, that would be kind of figured out at that scheduling step with the CS manager who would have the knowledge of when to get discounts and would advise it would be better maybe to start this title, let's say it's TV, 4 weeks or 5 weeks later to get that discount. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is kind of the rough guide we use here.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions, guys, or we can we can wrap up. Okay. I think we're all good. Please though, if anyone missed anything or has any questions, just feel free to drop me an email, to drop Anna an email. Um, and yeah, if there's any feedback or anything, even if any mistakes that people spot, like we've obviously tried to make this as perfect and as great as possible, but it might not be 100%, and we're willing to, if we do get feedback, we're willing to fix it straight away. That's what we're trying to do. That's why we're trying to be more engaging with the clients, so that we're a bit more responsive and can fix any of the issues and get as much feedback as we can. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. I really appreciate everyone for coming. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks so much.
Bye. See ya.